Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. My husband and I had been dating for around 6 years and married for one. So I thought I knew a lot about my husband as a person. I thought I knew who he considered himself close to, his friends, his family, yada, yada. Well, I guess I was proven wrong because it seems like he's closer to my own sister in a way that is just weird. Their closeness is a new discovery to me, and this closeness isn't even in what you can call a creepy way. Honestly, I had thought that their relationship was just like any other in laws, just cordial enough so that they stay friendly to each other whenever they see each other at family events. But that is obviously not the case, and honestly, I don't know how to deal with it. The discovery of how I really found out started when me and my husband went over to my sister's place for dinner to celebrate her pregnancy. My sister is married to her longtime partner, Avi. Her partner is a really nice guy and takes good care of her and is well liked by everyone in our family. So, this further adds up to how what my sister is doing makes no sense at all. Well, we're here at this dinner party and there's a lot of people present. So I immediately get into the kitchen to help my sister and leave my phone in the living room. I guess that is where the mix up happens, and my husband puts my sister's phone in my bag instead of mine. I don't really pay attention to it because throughout the dinner, neither my sister nor I have the time to take out our phones. Well, the dinner goes by smoothly and we all have a good time and we return home. It's Sunday tomorrow, so when I took out what I thought was my phone and I came to the realization that it wasn't, I immediately rang up my sister and let her know of the situation. There was no way any of us wanted to drive about 2 hours back and forth to pick up our devices, and so she told me to keep the phone with myself until tomorrow when she'll be driving by with Avi for some dinner. I agreed and thought nothing of it except for her constant insistence on how she doesn't want me to look through her phone. Well, that was a no brainer. Why would I want to look through her phone to begin with? Her uptight behavior towards her phone is what raised red flags for me. Well, my suspicion just worsened. It was the next morning, and my husband had left home to go golfing with his friends. I decided to just check her battery percentage and put her phone on charge. When I turned on her lock screen, I was surprised to see an email notification from my husband. This was obviously very weird because what the hell is my husband doing by emailing my sister? They have nothing in common, and honestly, it really would have been more convincing if it was a text message or something, but an email? Well, I couldn't stop myself but glance over the subject line that said, "Try not to use your pregnancy as a reason to meet Neil too much." My jaw dropped at reading this. For some context, Neil is my sister's ex before she met her now husband, and their relationship was not pretty. Neil was toxic towards her and cheated on my sister multiple times. And now that I think about it, the only reason why she ever moved on from him, or pretended to, was the fact that my parents held tuition fees over her head. So this discovery is disappointing but not surprising because of how obsessed my sister was with Neil. What is shocking, however, is my husband's involvement in it. Neil, my sister, and my husband have nothing in common really to be associated with each other. The three of them went to different colleges, studied different courses, and had different jobs. So it doesn't make sense to me why he would want to cover up for her and get tangled into so many lies. It's like I haven't even opened the Gmail app yet to see their exchanges, but this exchange alone has made me want to reconsider our marriage because why would I, in a million years, want to be with someone who defends in a cheater? This entire situation has already started to mess with my head, and I just know that this isn't even the beginning of it. I still need to figure out how I need to go about it and the other logistics behind it. Should I talk to Avi first? Should I confront the two of them when she comes over for dinner tonight? What should I do? Help! AITA? Everything is a wreck currently. Ever since I mustered up the courage and confronted my sister and husband, it wasn't on the day of the dinner on Sunday, but the next day when I invited Avi and my sister over. They visit us frequently because I cook a lot and often invite them over for dinners. So, them coming over continuously wasn't something out of the ordinary. Well, I decided to start the conversation. I started off by apologizing to my sister if this is what she considers snooping through her phone. I then explained the situation to my sister while Avi and my husband were sitting there. The differences in reactions that the three of them had made a lot of sense. It was like my sister looked like she had seen a ghost. Her face had turned white and she was quiet. My husband was trying his best to act surprised, act like he had no idea what I was talking about. And as for Avi, the poor guy looked like the realization was starting to hit him. Well, even before I could finish what I had seen, my sister started bawling her eyes out and just word vomiting everything. She tells me how this is all started 3 years ago when my husband had first caught her kissing Neil outside a mall. He started holding his phone over her head, and so my sister did some of her own digging and found out all the dating apps my husband was on for casual hookups. Now, this made the two of them equal, and they started to cover for each other. It was like they developed their own friendship. And I don't know why, but they would catch up with each other about their affairs through these emails. I wasn't expecting to hear this in a million years. It felt like my sister was making some sick, twisted joke, and honestly, I was hoping for everyone to start to laugh at any moment. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I knew this was the new reality that I had to start living with. My husband knew he had nothing to say here, nothing to explain himself for, because my sister had already dragged him through the mud after she herself had gotten exposed. I told my husband that he could pack his stuff and leave before I did because I really wasn't interested in talking to him. This began my husband's start to his long rant about how sorry he was, how much he loved me, how much he regrets all of this, and only ever continued because of my sister's pressure. Yeah, sure, lol. I guess Avi and my sister took this as a clue to leave the house too, because I can understand. They needed to have their own private discussion. When I wasn't responding to any of my husband's begging, he too understood that he had screwed up royally and just decided to leave. This is where I'm at currently, in this empty, cold house by myself. It's not even been a day yet, and I know with each day coming through, a lot more will be revealed. I'm not sure if this will be my last post because honestly, I have nothing to say anymore. But if there's anything to update you guys on, I definitely will. It's been a month since my last post, and needless to say, a lot has happened ever since the confrontation. One huge thing is that Avi got my sister DNA tested for her pregnancy, and the test has come out to be negative. This was shocking to not only me, but to our families as well. It made me disgusted with her as a person. I mean, why would you want to cheat on a partner as supportive and caring as Avi, especially with a deadbeat like Neil? Well, it is needless to say that Avi wants nothing to do with this baby and has completely cut off contact with my sister. My sister has used this as an excuse to call Avi a deadbeat father who cares about blood relations. If this is shocking to you guys, you all will be as dumbfounded as I am when I heard she and her friends ramble about how toxic Avi is because he doesn't want to repair this relationship and take my sister's pregnancy as a beginning for a fresh start. WTF? That was the last time I spoke to my sister. As for my soon to be ex husband and I, we're in the process of getting a divorce. My ex still tries every day to contact me and to convince me that he has changed. Well, it's simply not working for me. I have kicked him out of the house because I have been paying the majority of the home loan that we took to pay off the house. Apparently, he's moved into some girl's house he used to cheat on me with. There isn't much to say here now. I'm just glad Avi and I both got out of this situation before any children were involved. I hope this new journey brings fresh hope for a better future from here on. Thank you all. NTA, get ready for a divorce, not just from your husband, but also from your sister. If your husband can hide someone's affair to the point that he jokes about it, he can have one of his own. As for your sister, I wouldn't even want to recognize her as a person if she wants to go back to her ex who did her so bad. NTA, but you and your sister's husband deserve so much better if your sister is actually having an affair with her deadbeat ex, and if your husband is hiding it. Remember, staying silent just means supporting the cause. I'm 20 years old, female. My siblings are Luke, 18, Emmy, 11, female, and Sienna, 9. My dad remarried after my mom died, and he has stepkids, Jesse, 10, male, and Lily, 9, female. He and his second wife also had a child together who's now 4. In the last few months, a lot of complaints have been coming from my dad's house. I had reported him to CPS because Emmy and Sienna were telling me about dad and his wife drinking a lot, them not having food in the house, etc. CPS attempted to help them, but after 3 months of their intervention, my dad and his wife took off and left the kids in the house alone. I got a call about 2 months ago that the kids were considered abandoned and needed a home. I, along with some relatives on both my maternal and paternal sides of the family, agreed it was better for the girls to live with me. Part of this was due to the fact Dad cut them all off after Mom died so that they had not seen them since they were tiny and didn't really remember them. Luke also moved in to help out, so I dropped out of school and got a full time job. Luke was already registered for an apprenticeship that starts soon, so he was going to try and work PT as well. The other 3 kids, I do not have an ongoing relationship with, and even though one is related through my dad, I never considered them a sibling. Their mom's family passed on taking them, and so they entered the foster system while my sisters came to live with me. Despite passing on taking them, their mom's family have relentlessly come after me for abandoning them and not treating them like equal siblings family. I have been told those 3 kids miss us, that they saw us as siblings family, and they have nobody now. I pointed out they were all free to step up and take them and was met with silence. I guess this is where I admit that during this whole thing, and after blocking them numerous times, but they have created new accounts and found other means of reaching me. Part of me has wondered if I'm a crappy person for not caring about them, especially the youngest, who is my half sibling. I know they're innocent kids and didn't ask for any of this more than we did. Luke also had to block them because once they realized he moved in with me to help with our sisters, they decided he was a dick too. AITA? You've quit school and taken a job in order to care for your bio siblings, as your mother has passed and your father has abandoned them. The step siblings and half siblings have families that won't step up to the plate and care for them. Taking in the girls is amazing, and adding more is too much. Whether love is there or not, you would overwhelm yourself, and the bio siblings would suffer. Also, you aren't kin to the stepkids, thus wouldn't be first on the list to take them in. That's on their family, which sounds as crappy as the stepmother. So sorry you've had to halt your future and shoulder those responsibilities, but ignore the people who should be helping. Good luck. And NTA. NTA, you're barely an adult who's had to make some very difficult and mature choices. You've made the best choices you can and are helping out more than you are legally or morally obligated to. Take care of yourself first so you can support your newly formed family. I wish you the best of luck. You're a good egg. NTA, but please contact your case manager with CPS. You should be receiving financial assistance. Many states will provide help to the 18-year-old also. Make sure you apply for food stamps, etc., to help with the financial concerns. You have dropped out of school at 20 to take care of 2 siblings. It's selfless and commendable. The other family members should leave you alone. Again, ask your case manager for help from outside harassment. Best of luck to you. My partner and I have been together for 7 years. We have an overall great relationship and are finally expecting our first child after years of trying. I love this man, and his blunt take, no BS attitude is part of what makes us so compatible because I'm the same way. However, this attitude also includes the risk of both of us being a little callous sometimes. That's where the issue is. In the beginning of my pregnancy, when I was looking for an OBGYN, the first doctor I ended up at was not good. I was 22 weeks pregnant. It took longer than expected to get on health insurance. And this guy very aggressively insisted on a transvaginal probe ultrasound. Based on the research I had done, that shouldn't have been a suggestion unless there was a specific reason to believe that I had a low cervix. And as I had not been checked out at all prior to that, there was no reason to believe I had that issue. I have a history that gives me serious panic anxiety around strange men I don't know poking around down there. I recognize during birth it's not really an option, but I was not comfortable with an aggressive old man insisting on sticking a giant probe up my crotch with no medical explanation. I told the doctor that I just wanted an external ultrasound, and he got angry and told me he wouldn't give me an external ultrasound unless I submitted an internal first. And when I refused, he refused to treat me at all. I had a panic attack and went back out to the car and tried to explain why I was so freaked out and uncomfortable to my partner. He pretty much told me I was being ridiculous and that if I wanted to be pregnant, I needed to accept that some doctor visits would be uncomfortable and that I needed to do it anyway. I dug in my heels and refused and looked for a new doctor. I found a great practice where all the procedures are explained calmly and clearly and where they respect my boundaries. And the doctor there confirmed that they absolutely do not recommend transvaginal surgery that far along and that it can actually be a risk at that stage. She reassured me that I was in the right for standing my ground and refused an unnecessary treatment that I wasn't comfortable with. When I relayed that information to my partner, he felt bad for pushing me to do it and giving me the tough love speech instead of being supportive, but also stood by the fact that he didn't know and that it's reasonable for him to assume if a doctor says it's necessary, then it probably is. I finally told him today that I'd rather do the birth alone because of what happened at the first appointment. He says his feelings are really hurt, but it's my decision. I feel like such a jerk for wanting to keep him out, but birth is freaking hard and I can't handle being in there and having someone talking down to me instead of supporting me. And I don't know if I can count on him to be that support. So, Reddit, AITA? My partner wants to be there for the birth, but I want to do it alone. NAH, I get why you don't want him there. I get why he'd be disappointed to miss out on the birth of his child. Perhaps look into birthing classes that you two can take together. And if he does, let him be there. NTA, the thing is, if you truly believe he's sorry and if he hadn't made that massive blunder, would you have wanted him there? Please don't give birth alone. If you can't trust him, you just can't. I won't push you to change your mind, but you need someone. I had my mom and my husband, and I'm so grateful I had that company. Birth is boring, and long bouts of nothing interspersed with pain is hard to do alone. NAH, I understand your point of view. Your boyfriend dropped the ball hard and damaged your trust. That must have been very difficult for you. However, he apologized, has been educated by you and the opinions of your new care team as to why he was wrong. I don't think his initial response was meant to be harmful, simply misinformed. Many people trust doctors almost blindly, and he fell into that trap. He's right that sometimes we as patients get anxious and our doctors do know better. Your situation was unfortunate and unique, and he made a mistake. Witnessing the birth of a child is an incredible thing. My husband has very dear memories of both of our children, and those things are so precious to him. You don't owe that experience to your partner if you don't trust him, but I'd also have to ask, why are you going to raise a child with someone you do not emotionally trust?